Hello and welcome to Magnetic Rise. I am your host, Cikizwa Vilakazi, and this is the podcast where we uncover the strategies, the lessons, and the stories behind scaling B2B companies to incredible heights. Today, I am very thrilled to welcome Juliette Denny, a true innovator in the learning and development space. But I won't take up too much time delving into that. I will give Juliette a chance to do that herself. Welcome, Juliet, to Magnetic Rise. It's such an honor to have you here today.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It's lovely to be here.
Awesome. So picking up from where I left off, can we start the conversation with your journey? Can you tell us a bit about yourself, who you are, and how did you get to where you are now?
So I came into the software industry because I happened to be working in a pub and I got on very well with one of the locals in the pub and he had a box software company. So when I came out of university, he said, "Hey, why don't you come work for my box software company?" This was in the days before the internet. I mean, you obviously will never remember that, but yeah, we used to have box software, and I sell box software around the world. And then when the internet came out, I happened to be in the US. So to cut a very, very long story short, after I left him, I started a couple of my own businesses. One which went very well, that was a box software distribution business. So I went traveling, met my ex-husband, and we ended up moving out to the US to do our postgrads at Harvard. And while I was out in the US, the internet was sort of invented and I got sort of swept up in the dot-com boom. So that was the first time I was really kind of introduced to online businesses. And I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And then when we came back to the UK, that's when I decided, right, I'm going to start building my own sort of SaaS B2B business. And yeah, ended up in the learning sector. So I've been in EdTech, building growth engineering for the last sort of 22 years. And that's done very well. We sell to some of the biggest companies in the world, HP, Centrica, L'Oreal, Apple. And then more latterly, I've just started a new AI business, which I am beyond excited about. And that is going really, really well to maximize learner engagement. So that's basically like a personal learning companion that really kind of brings learning alive. So that is, my journey in, a quick synopsis, but yeah.
It's quite a lengthy journey at that. Over the 2 decades that you have been in the industry, you've led the charge in things like gamification. What have been some of the most significant shifts that you've seen in the industry during this time?
I think, overall, there's been a big move in the EdTech area from learning as a compliance. So basically, learning at work being very much, do you know about the organization? And then, have you received your compliance training too? Learning can potentially be a way of, maximizing innovation and, allowing change within the organization. And so that upskilling piece has been really, really critical. So I think, what we were trying and still are trying to do in growth engineering and in iridescent technology is ensure that, development and learning is a real kind of powerhouse for, the companies that choose to invest in it. And so really, I think, that one of the big trends, and I think the trend that we will continue to see is that, more content isn't the answer. More content doesn't get better learning. So I think that is a big, big change. And just this focus on, in order to get people really inspired, excited, and curious about their learning within the corporate environment, it has to be, compelling, and it has to be as good as a consumer product.
Definitely, that makes a lot of sense. And you've mentioned that you've had the opportunity to work with some huge names in the global industry. What have been the keys to building relationships with these clients and delivering value for them?
I think really long-term relationships, it is trust, certainly. I think, the companies that we've been working with, for a long, long time, we're talking about over decades now, it is definitely one of those things that's built on mutual trust. Contracts and things like that, have a way of, not really kind of meeting the requirements. It really is about, ensuring that you've got a team that can deliver to, those kind of high performance clients, when they need it. I don't think there's any secret other than basically, being there, as they expect and more. In our industry, it is definitely a relationship based on trust. There's lots of competition out there, and you really need to work very hard in order to delight and excite and retain your customers.
What insights did these partnerships give you about scaling impactful solutions?
I think just the pressure that some of these large corporates are under, you don't necessarily get that in smaller companies. These larger companies can be real hothouses of, pressure cookers. The companies that we work with, right? Which means that people can, get incredibly stressed if the solution that you're rolling out isn't absolutely perfect. And I think that is a really good discipline, because the search and the attainment of the best possible solution is absolutely what we should all strive for. So I can definitely say in my career that working with the Apples and the L'Oreal and the Centricas and the Ciscos of this world has been a real, it's been great, because you do learn what good looks like. And also, I think the other thing is just that level of inquiry. We've been recently doing some work with Coca-Cola, and they have huge global audiences. And so, trying to ensure that the solution is perfect for all type of audiences, and in every country of every kind of level within their learning and development structure is a challenge, but it's really good fun.
Yeah, sounds like a whole lot of fun. I would I would love to be in your shoes and work with all of those brands and all the solutions that you're providing. It sounds amazing. I would like to now shift and talk more about, please excuse me if I mispronounce it, Zavmo.ai. Did I pronounce it correctly?
That's perfect. Yep, absolutely perfect. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to speak about the role of AI in learning. So how does Zavmo.ai personalize learning journeys for users? And then what impacts have you seen so far?
So the goal of Zavmo AI is to make learning uniquely personal to you and your career. So Zavmo basically acts in sort of 4 stages. So the first stage is discovery. So Zavmo will ask you questions about, your life in general, right? Okay, so what brought you to this place? So it's very much like, what's your education? How old are you? What role are you in now? What job would you like to do? What are your career aspirations? How do you best like to learn? How much money would you like to earn? So it's just basically getting to know you in the discovery phase. And for the large corporates, what we do here is we suck in their job descriptions. So we basically take their job descriptions, and then we don't have to do so much of the discovery phase, but we still need to do, how do you want your career to progress? What are you looking to do? All of that kind of good stuff. Then we go into the discuss phase. Okay. So it's basically called the 4D process. So discovery, discuss, deliver, and demonstrate. So that then understands who you are. Then we go into the habit forming, because we want learning to be something that you decide how you want the learning to be. So at this point, Zavmo is basically talking to you about how often you want to learn, where you want to learn, what device you want to learn on, and making a commitment, between Zavmo and yourself to, deliver out the learning. At this point, Zavmo will also be putting in learning paths for you, and you'll be discussing with Zavmo and saying, yes, I like this one. Can I have some changes to this? Da, 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 da. So at the end of the kind of discuss phase between yourself and Zavmo, you will have basically created a personalized development plan, which you are really happy with. And then what happens is we go into the delivery phase. And the delivery phase can be completely customized to you. So it can be through conversation, it can be through coaching, it can be through, role play, it can be through case studies, it can be however you said that you want to learn. And so you start on your learning journey, and in that phase, what you're looking to do is basically complete the learning objectives. So these are the learning objectives of the curriculum. And then as you move through delivery, you then go into demonstrate, and that's when you complete the learning, and it then maps back to national qualifications. So if you're in the UK, it maps back to national qualifications on Ofqual. If you're in Europe, it maps back to EFQL. So what this means is you basically got a sort of a personal coach for your career, and somebody who understands your learning style, how you like to learn, in order to hopefully maximize, your learning goals. Because obviously we want everybody to unleash their inner awesome and be able to achieve anything they want,
Yeah, that sounds incredibly useful. I am curious to know, though, that with AI obviously still being sort of new at the public space, a lot of people are apprehensive to use it, especially when it comes to giving out their personal information or things like that, which is what the program would need to learn you and then sort of help you with what you need. Do you see any common misconceptions about AI in this space that they need to be addressed and make people feel more at ease with using it?
So remember, we're a B2B player, right? So we partner with universities, countries' educational systems, large global companies. So we don't necessarily sell direct to individuals, right? So this would be a learning solution that, let's say, the government of Azerbaijan, decided to implement for all of their schools and all of their. So the data would obviously be the property of, the Azerbaijan government. Or let's say we were rolling out, which we're rolling out a trial for Centrica British Gas. The information that employees or team members were putting in would be something that these companies know anyway. I mean, obviously they know the description of the person. So, the trust element of the individual to the AI is not really, the relationship is not really to the individual to the AI. The trust relationship is the individual to their employer, or the individual to their school, or to the individual to that university. So we have very, very clear contracts, which basically prevent us using, the only information that we're allowed to use is aggregated information to try and improve engagement, right? So improve the quality of the conversations that Zavmo is having. But we don't know at our level what people are asking to Zavmo to learn. We just provide the data lake with, these huge, databases of, public information. And, what our data scientists, the clever bit about what our data scientists do is they basically put the code to put the right instructional design and the right kind of learning pedagogy and the right, neuroscience behind the engagement that the individual is getting to maximize the chances of them really enjoying their learning. So yeah, I would say that potentially, because we're not business to consumer, that's a challenge that we don't really have. If we had that challenge, then we would certainly just be completely open and honest with the data and how the data was being used. And of course, being, an AI company, that's all done through conversation. So if you arrive at the site, you arrive at Zavmo AI, and you've got concerns about privacy, you would simply ask Zavmo. You'd say, I don't feel comfortable with giving you that information. And then Zavmo would say, okay, well, I'm not here to make you feel uncomfortable. Let's explore that. Are there questions that I can answer? But you don't have to share that information if you don't feel comfortable. So it's a different way of interacting with, technology than we have been used to interacting with, thus far. So, for example, we're just about to start a trial where it'll all be avatars. So it will look very like, so this could be a Zavmo situation. I could be Zavmo and you could be talking to me. You could pick how you wanted me to look. So it's a very kind of different dynamic to what we've been used to with regards to, technical applications.
Yeah, it certainly sounds very different. And I'm glad you cleared that up for us, actually. um, I'm interested to know what excites you the most about the intersection of AI with education.
I think it's just the endless possibilities. So I'm dyslexic, and I, was forced out of school at 14, 15, as was my youngest son. And I feel that very passionately that people are born curious. And I think a lot of people just don't flourish particularly well in the education system. And I think that's a fault of the education system, not the individual. And so I am on a kind of mission and a quest, as is everybody at Iridescent Technologies, to be honest with you, to kind of revolutionize the way people think about education. Because you stay curious, the longer you stay curious, the more you learn, the more energetic and, alive, you feel, and the more passion you have for life. And so I think it's incumbent on us instructors, the people that are meant to be sort of putting in, learning to make that learning as interesting and exciting as we possibly can. So that the learner is just filled with wonderment, and just passion for exploration and curiosity to get to where they want to get to in their careers and their lives.
Mm.
So yeah, that's what I would say.
Certainly. And on that note of curiosity, are there any untapped opportunities you believe more companies should explore?
I think it's really important for all companies now to explore AI as a whole. And I think if there are issues, and I've certainly seen it, within the companies that I have, interfaced with, there are a lot of people who don't have the confidence to explore. They want to sort of, do what they've always done. And I think that's fine, but I don't think that strategy is one that's going to win out in the long term. I mean, AI is here to stay, and companies that are embracing AI are going to be the ones that are going to be around for longer than those that aren't, especially in knowledge environments like the environment that, I'm in. And so, embracing AI and finding the right partners in the AI journey, I think is very important. We're all learning, but you have to be open to starting that journey, because if you're not, you can pretty much guarantee that your competitors are. And obviously, that's probably not where you want to be. You want to be out ahead.
Certainly. You definitely want to be out ahead. That's how you win. That's how you stay ahead of everything. Thank you so much for that, for sharing your incredible insights and experiences with us today, Juliet. Unfortunately, time is against us, and I was really enjoying this conversation. But everything that you've shared, from gamifying learning to AI-powered personalization, your work continues to push the boundaries of what's possible in education and development, and that's incredibly exciting. Before we close, where can our listeners go to learn more about you, growth engineering, and Zavmo.ai?
So LinkedIn is probably the place, but if you're a TikToker, then obviously I'm on TikTok, and Zavmo's on TikTok as well. So yeah, LinkedIn and TikTok are really the place to find us. Yeah.
You're the first person I've heard who's referred people to TikTok. So that just goes to show you're taking your own advice, which is just amazing.
No, I love it. I think it's because I can't write very well, so it's like, right, video, and that does the job.
Certainly. That wraps up today's episode of Magnetic Rise. Remember, the key to scaling isn't just growth, it's about innovation, alignment, and impact. Until next time, keep rising by learning, innovating, and leading with passion. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Juliet. It's been awesome.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure.